Welcome to the Den, the Dark Entertainment Network. I'm the Gothic Rose, and this is the dark tale of the day. Let me take this moment to reintroduce myself. I am the Gothic Rose, hostess of the Dark Entertainment Network. This is a channel where the news meets conspiracy theories and makes babies in my brain, and it comes out my mouth. I do this because I enjoy it. If you like this type of content, please follow along, because I'm not going to stop. Hello, dear fiends. We are back in the den to talk the haunted history of Hollywood, and today we are talking more about vaudeville and how it crossed over with film and with Broadway. But vaudeville was the cornerstone of entertainment in the United States from the late 1800s until the early 1930s, and two of its most well-known stars are the Havoc sisters, June and Louise, raised by their mother, Rose. Now, June was known as Baby June, and Louise became known later as the brilliant striptease performer, emphasis on the tease, Gypsy Rose Lee. But let's focus today on Baby June and how she started out and her accomplishments as an adult in the entertainment industry. Vaudeville, the cornerstone of American entertainment from the late 1800s until the early 1930s, which crossed over into the birth of cinema, has really just been, I don't know, to me, overlooked. So I've talked about the Hilton sisters and Mary Pickford, who performed in vaudeville before. Well, Mary Pickford went on to do amazing things, and the Hilton sisters died in poverty and obscurity, which is awful. But we have another couple of sisters who grew up in vaudeville, and they ended up making something big out of themselves, and that is Baby June and Gypsy Rose Lee. Now, these two sisters were part of the vaudeville circuit, and they were basically brought up in a caravan of traveling performers with their mother, Rose Havoc, who was the ultimate momager. Like Kris Kardashian, Jenner, whatever her name, has nothing on Rose Havoc. June Havoc never worked with Daisy or Violet Hilton, but she did collaborate with Mary Pickford during rehearsals for the Broadway musical Sadie Thompson in 1944, where Pickford was involved as a production investor. So they did work together at one point, and Baby June was just an absolute phenomenon on stage. She was born Ellen Evangeline Havoc on November 8th, 1912, in Vancouver, Canada. She was a Canadian American actress, dancer, and playwright, and she began her career as Baby June, a child vaudeville performer under the guidance of her ambitious mother, Rose Thompson Havoc. Her older sister, Gypsy Rose Lee, became a famous burlesque performer, but June's early life was marked by the pressures of show business and her mother's dominance, and she is eloped at a young age to escape her mother's control, and later transitioned from vaudeville to acting on Broadway and in Hollywood. And her career included plays like Pal Joey and films such as Gentleman's Agreement, and she also directed stage productions and wrote memoirs along with her life. And her story with her sisters inspired the musical Gypsy, though June felt the portrayal of herself was inaccurate and hurtful. And June Havoc passed away on March 8th, 2010, at the age of 97. She had a very long life. So when it comes to the musical Gypsy, which was based on June's sister, Gypsy Rose Lee, June had significant reservations about the musical. So June felt that the portrayal of her life and her family was inaccurate and unfair, and believed that the musical misrepresented her achievements and reduced her role in the family to a minor, unflattering character. She once remarked, "I disappear. Nothing is ever mentioned about the fact that I went out and became somebody." Additionally, June Havoc was troubled by the way her mother, Rose Thompson Havoc, was depicted as a domineering stage mother. She felt the musical exaggerated certain aspects for dramatic effect, turning her family's story into a fable rather than an accurate representation. But despite her objections, June Havoc supported her sister by attending the premiere of the musical, even though she initially refused to sign the necessary release for its production. But June and Gypsy had a very complex relationship. So they shared these experiences in vaudeville and their tumultuous upbringing under their ambitious mother, but they cared for each other as sisters, and their bond was strained by competition, different life paths, but really they were both in entertainment and all of these challenges of their early years. Now, June was the baby, amazing child star of vaudeville, so she felt overshadowed by Gypsy's fame as an adult as a burlesque star. While Gypsy sometimes resented the attention June received as a child performer, but they maintained a connection throughout their lives. It just wasn't always smooth. But she did end up supporting her sister. But June Havoc thinks that her mother's portrayal and her portrayal was unfair, although it was from Gypsy's point of view. So to me, it almost sounds like a sibling rivalry of why didn't June get to be the main character in a musical? June Havoc was a childhood sensation. She was dancing on point and performing at 2 years old and appearing in silent films. And by the age of 5 years old, she was already earning $1,500 per week in vaudeville reviews. Now, that was in 1918. So, June Havoc didn't feel that she was pushed into anything because I believe she loved being the center of attention. Who wouldn't, at 2 years old, love being a star and having everyone clap for you, and you grow up and you're just this little darling sweetheart? And being that she felt it was inaccurately portrayed her life in Gypsy, I find funny because she did feel controlled because at age 13, June Havoc eloped. So, as we know, Rose Havoc was very controlling. So, at the age of 13, baby June, as she was Dainty June by then, eloped with Bobby Reed, and he was a fellow performer in her act. And this was driven by her desire to escape the control of her overbearing mother, Rose. Now, of course, this caused significant drama, and Rose had Bobby arrested and even attempted to shoot him at the police station. Fortunately, the gun failed to fire and Reed was released. And obviously, so was Rose, because I don't see a record of her being arrested for this. So it was a very short lived marriage. They eventually divorced, but it says nothing about an annulment. And this chapter of her life highlights her struggles for independence because she faced so many challenges growing up in the demanding world of show business. She was just looking for some normal. June Havoc may not have appreciated how she was depicted in the musical Gypsy based on Gypsy Rose Lee's life and memoirs. She said she felt like she wasn't someone, but she really was. After her vaudeville days as Baby June and later Dainty June, June Havoc made her Broadway debut in Pal Joey in 1940. and went on to star in other notable productions like Mexican Hayride and Sadie Thompson, which Mary Pickford was an investor. June Havoc also appeared in films such as Gentleman's Agreement 1947, which won the Academy Award for Best Picture, and Brewster's Millions in 1945. June Havoc also wrote and directed the play Marathon 33, based on her experiences during the Great Depression. The play earned her a Tony Award nomination for Best Director. And then June Havoc came over into television. She appeared on various TV shows, including a story arc on General Hospital in 1990. And she authored 2 memoirs, Early Havoc and More Havoc, and this provides a candid look at her life and career. And she worked on a restoration project. She restored Cannon Crossing, a pre-Civil War village in Wilton, Connecticut, showcasing her interest in preservation and community development. So her post-vaudeville accomplishments highlight her versatility and resilience in the entertainment industry. And I think that this is because she had such an overbearing mother and grew up on the road that she learned how to survive, and she truly did make something of herself. June Havoc was Baby June, Dainty June, TV star, playwright, Tony Award nominated. I mean, she really did it all, and she was an incredibly talented woman. I hope you're all enjoying the haunted history of Hollywood just as much as I am. And if you have any tips or any stories you'd like to share with me about any of the actors I have mentioned so far, please send me an email to welcometothedenpodcast@gmail.com. You can also be a guest. You just must be 21 and over. Thank you for joining me in the den.